Morgantown tonight. And Judgment Week, presented by AT&T Long Distance, brings us to the backyard brawl. Only 75 miles separating Pittsburgh from Morgantown. This is the 161st meeting in the long history of these two schools. But they are light years apart in the standings this year. Pittsburgh having one of the best improved surprise seasons in the country this year, 9-3 on top of the Big East West Division. West Virginia really struggling at 1-10. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman, Doris Burke with you. Things have gotten so bad for West Virginia, in fact, that after their last game, a loss here to Virginia Tech, Dale Catlett, their coach of 24 years, Doris, said, that's it. I've had enough. He retired. Really effective immediately. His nephew, assistant coach Drew Catlett, will be on the bench tonight.
565 wins later, he decides it is time to step aside. The man responsible for how this team reacts is his nephew, Drew Catlett. They split a pair of games under Drew earlier this season. On the opposite side of things for the Pittsburgh Panthers, things have gone very well all season. Behind the play of their point guard, Brandon Knight, who just may be the MVP in the Big East Conference.
If you haven't seen Pittsburgh, and a lot of people haven't, they're not quite yet getting a lot of national exposure. They're an unselfish, team-oriented, tough defensive group. Brandon Knight, their quarterback, their leader at the point guard spot. Chris Moss is the most celebrated probably of the West Virginia players, averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds per game. But the Mountaineers also have a young point guard, a freshman, Jonathan Hargett, a world of ability, hugely hyped. But he's yet to deliver on a consistent basis here, making the jump from high school to big-time college basketball, shooting about 29%, 4 turnovers per game, injuries, suspensions, a lot of problems for West Virginia this year, and that's reflected in the Big East standings. Here's the long history of this series. It's almost 100 years old, and in just a couple of weeks, when Pittsburgh plays its last ever home game at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse with the Peterson Event Center opening next year, it's fitting that the West Virginia Mountaineers will be the opposition.
Now, Pittsburgh, because of their style, they'll shorten the game with their defense. So West Virginia's opportunities may be limited this evening. They'll have to make good use of them.
Mountaineers in white, Panthers in blue. And into the hands of Brandon Knight, and get used to the sight of Knight walking the ball up the court. They will take some time off the shot clock.
West Virginia opens man-to-man, and this is where Brandon Knight is usually very successful.
Thrown by Drew Schifino, and he'll lay it in to get this crowd on its feet.
Well, in the games that Drew took over earlier in the year, this team played with a little bit more energy and enthusiasm. They get off to a great start tonight.
Schifino starting at the 2-guard spot for Lionel Armstead, a senior who is suspended indefinitely. Jerron Brown inside. Doesn't get the bounce. Second try, no good.
Well, you get a look by 6'4" Jerron Brown, but he plays like he's 6'7", 6'8". Yep. Excellent ups.
Long arms, too, about 235 pounds as well. Pittsburgh coming off a win up at Syracuse. West Virginia coming off a loss here to Virginia Tech, beaten by 15. Could have been worse than that. Schifino for 3.
Well, he has played great over the course of the last 4 games. He's been in double digits all 4, and already showing he's got some skills.
A freshman from Pittsburgh, and he's got all 5 already here tonight. Boy, it is noisy behind us. A big crowd here tonight. Pittsburgh's got some fans, but it's the students from West Virginia making all the noise. Knight off a screen. Bounces out for him. Panthers have had a couple of good looks, but no luck.
Just a solid set. Double screen on the block allowed Brandon Knight to get an open look in the wing. He is very improved as a shooter.
Hargett. And he knocks down a 3.
It's amazing how loose and confident you can play when there's not a lot on the line.
Who's ranked and who's in last place? Right now it's West Virginia with an 8-0 lead. Boy, this has always been one of the most unique environments in the Big East ever since West Virginia came into this league several years ago. And one thing West Virginia has not done well lately is shoot it from outside, but you wouldn't know that tonight.
Well, Drew Schifino early at the first 5, and then Jonathan Hargett from the perimeter. Pittsburgh known for its defense, but giving up 3-point attempts. They are first in the league in defending the 3. But thus far tonight not getting into it. You mentioned that Syracuse went up at the Carrier Dome. Dan, they were down 14 in that one. Were impressive in the second half to win it.
They don't go away just because they get down. This is a mentally strong group. The Panthers headed to the tournament, it would appear, for the first time in 9 years. It's out of bounds and back to West Virginia again.
Well, the meaning for this game for West Virginia is the rivalry, which you've already defined for us. Proximity doesn't breed a lot of good feeling.
No, not at all. The game's with Pittsburgh as Yeager slides inside and makes it 10-0. The 2 games with Pitt and the game with Marshall, in-state rival. Probably the biggest games year after year on West Virginia's calendar. Little bump from Hargan, no call. I hope Knight's not calling out plays. Nobody will hear him in here as the floater goes down for Brandon Knight.
That tough-minded Jersey kid right there. The guy just makes big shots. He was 0 for 9 in the first half against Syracuse. Dan came out, drained some threes to start the second half, got his team back into it.
Now he's called for a block on the other end. 3rd year at Pittsburgh for Ben Howland after a successful 5-year run at Northern Arizona. There, the Lumberjacks, I just love saying Lumberjacks, led the country in three-point percentage 3 years in a row. But now in the Big East, Ben Howland has said, you know what, I have to adjust. This is a physical, defense-oriented league, and that's the kind of team that he has.
Yeah, he said we've got to get big, and we've got to get tough, and we've got to learn to defend. Well, his guys have done all 3.
Allowing only 59 points per game, best in the conference. Moss, all the moves.
I tell you, this guy plays hard every night. Doesn't matter what the record is, doesn't matter what the score is. He's had a sensational senior year.
He is dealing with a severe abdominal strain that has really hindered him the last week or so, but still managed to score 21 points against Virginia Tech on Wednesday. Donatas Zavascus outside. Here's Julius Page off tonight. Another look for 3. And Brandon Knight, as you mentioned, Doris, one of the most improved shooters in this conference. Last year, 28% from three-point range. This year, a very respectable 38%.
And how did he do it 2 ways, Dan? He got into the weight room and he got stronger, gets better lift off his legs. And number 2, just paying the price, being in the gym and shooting jump shots.
Hargan. 3 rattles out. And the rebound for Julius Page. Ben Howland wants to see more boards from Page. Deron Brown thought about it instead into traffic. He doesn't mind going in there now.
He's got the upper body strength to go ahead and contend. And you know what? Julius is only 6'3", an inch shorter than Deron Brown. The reason Ben says he's got to board it, we've seen him. He's explosive, one of the best leapers in the conference.
Last year, maybe the highlight play in college basketball all season, the dunk over Ruben Bunche.
Oh, sensational.
Chaz Briggs, offensive rebound, can't finish. Zavascus is fouled as Shafino reached around from behind.
Well, the one thing Drew Catlett told his guys was people who are going to play hard are going to play. Early on in this basketball game, Drew Catlett has his team playing hard and playing well.
ESPN and ESPN2, home of the NCAA.
Okay.
Yep. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Italian.
For the courageous New England Patriots, the forecast turned out super.
25, 50.
Share the thrills with Sports Illustrated and the great new NFL Films video, The New England Patriots Super Bowl 36 Champions, on your choice of either VHS or DVD. Plus, this hardbound Sports Illustrated commemorative. This individually numbered classic captures the Patriots in championship style. Both are free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now for an inside look at the miraculous season of the New England Patriots, free with your paid order of 55 issues of Sports Illustrated for only $1.59 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price. This Super Bowl football, designed exclusively for Sports Illustrated, is also free when you use your credit card. It's a super collectible you can't get anywhere else. Call now and get all 3 free with your choice of either VHS or DVD. This is where the action is. Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
West Virginia started with a 10-0 lead. Now it's 12-7 over Pittsburgh. This is part of a busy day of college basketball on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2. This is one of just 13 games. How about Arizona State pulling off the upset at Pauley, beating UCLA by 1? And you just saw Michigan State hang on for a big win over Purdue. St. Joe's and Xavier going on right now. And coming up later on tonight, lucky number 13, Dan Dickau and Gonzaga, ranked 8th in the country, trying to avenge their only conference loss, beaten earlier this season by Pepperdine. That game coming up top of the hour over on ESPN2. Out of the West Coast Conference, maybe both of those teams headed to the NCAA tournament. Dan Dickau providing some of the best point guard play in the country.
The mid-season Wooden Award finalist. He is what makes the Zags go. Those two teams, what a matchup in the West Coast Conference, Dan. I mean, you're right. In the mid-majors, the two teams that have the best opportunity if they don't win their conference tournament, Pepperdine or Gonzaga.
You don't find many mid-majors where you can almost say with certainty two teams should go to the tournament, but it looks like that in the West Coast Conference. Ontario Lett, 6'6" junior from Pensacola, Florida, just into the game for Pittsburgh, and he travels. He and Torrey Morris, two big guys who split the minutes almost evenly.
Well, Ben Howland has the luxury of depth. He'll go a legitimate 9 deep. Morris takes a seat, and you get a little more athletic and offensively polished Ontario Lett in the ballgame.
Also Chad Johnson now on the floor for Pittsburgh. Two-pointer for Drew Schifino, and he's got 7.
But you get an understanding of why there was so much anticipation coming into the year for West Virginia. Now, it didn't play out that way, but the rookies, Hargett and Schifino, very highly thought of.
With Lionel Armstead now suspended, Tim Lyles, a 2-year starter with the point, has missed the entire season with a knee injury. There's Knight again, stroking it.
His confidence level is drastically different from a season ago. No hesitation. The stroke is fluid. He gets his feet underneath him quickly.
Averages 15. He's already got 8 tonight. He and Schifino really lighting it up from the perimeter early. Here's Schifino again. Moss keeps it alive, and we've got a foul on the floor going against the Panthers. Now, Pittsburgh, as we mentioned, at best in the Big East in points allowed, and West Virginia right at the bottom. The score margin also predictably pretty similar. Pittsburgh also has the best rebound margin in the Big East, although you wouldn't know it there, as Josh Yeager puts it back in.
Now, successive situations where Chris Moss gets a hand on the basketball, forces the foul, and then you get the putback opportunity.
West Virginia playing its first official game without longtime head coach Gail Catlett. Landon Knight again. You're talking about a 3 that's 5 feet beyond the arc.
He was in the pregame warm-ups. He was shooting them from that range. And I'll tell you this, just defend. At this point, he's the only guy scoring. You've got to sell out in his three-point shooting.
Now, like his brother, under-recruited out of high school, and like his brother, Brevin, now an NBAer with Memphis, playing better and better every year. But right now, West Virginia matching him shot for shot. Hargett's got 5.
And now they come with the extended pressure, a little 2-2-1, and it's aggressive 2-2-1, looking to make things happen.
Mountaineers have lost 13 of their last 14 games. Only a win here against Providence a couple of weeks ago. Knight finally a miss. Long rebound, Schifino, and stolen by Knight. What anticipation. And a block at the other end by Josh Yeager. Briggs from Hargett, and this place is rocking right now.
Appreciating an effort they have not seen all year long. West Virginia stroking it.
Page the miss. Look at Hargett. Pulls up for the jumper.
He's got tons of physical ability. When his mental game catches up, look out.
22 points in 7.5 minutes against the best defensive team in the Big East in West Virginia, scoring every which way. But how about the Yeager block?
Well, great anticipation by Knight, but the rejection by Yeager, and it leads to this. Nice finish, and watch Jonathan Hargett, who is one of the more physically gifted young players in the country. Behind the back, the pull-up, sweet. And I'll tell you, Harget's got physical gifts. He can shoot the rock. He can go off the dribble. His passing skills are improving. He's really never been taught how to play the game, Dan. As he understands the flow and the pace and how to run things, he will be a very dangerous guy.
Every now and again, an ill-advised shot, or he airmails a low percentage pass, and he winds up on the bench, as he did for long stretches Wednesday against Virginia Tech. But tonight, for the most part, effective and under control. Knight. That pass deflected out of bounds. It stays with Pittsburgh. Mark McCarroll, a 6'10" redshirt freshman from Queens, number 21 into the game now for the Panthers.
Really an unknown how your team will react. Will they come out with great energy and enthusiasm? They're playing hard, and that 2-2-1 pressure getting to Pittsburgh a bit.
Johnson steps in, misses the jumper. Ontario Lett creates the turnover, scores, and is fouled.
Yeah, for all this push, Pittsburgh remains calm. They're just trying to continue to make plays. You've got to match the energy of the home team. And Ontario Lett gets a piece. Brown can't come up with it, but the big body and excellent finish around the rim. Lett, he's got excellent touch.
Averaging better than 8 points, 4 rebounds per game off the bench for Ben Howland. Hit one of those teams that truly understands and believes you can't get it all back at once. They're not going to change the way they play because of the score. They're going to keep chipping away bit by bit.
This is a Pittsburgh team that the sum of its parts is greater than the whole. I mean, this is a team that is committed to each other, unselfish. They are unconcerned with who gets the puck.
Briggs inside, had it deflected away by Lett, and it stays with West Virginia. Get a good moment for Ontario Lett, helping to bring the Panthers back closer. What a start, though, for West Virginia, leading the heavily favored Panthers by 6.
Come to Pep Boys for all of your car care needs. Buy an Energizer battery starting as low as $69.99. Get an Energizer battery at Pep Boys today, and we'll guarantee it for 24 months and give you free jumpstart service for 3 years. Come to Pep Boys for an Energizer battery today.
Call Domino's for a free order of oven-fresh Cinnasticks when you buy any large one-topping pizza for $9.99. Sprinkled with cinnamon sugar and served with creamy icing, they're tough to resist. So call now, because at Domino's, we've got the dinner thing covered. Get the door. It's Domino's.
both ways. Which brings us to the safety triangle. The interconnected parts that enable you to stop, steer, and maintain stability. Ask your mechanic for a safety triangle inspection and quality replacement parts like Monroe, Reflex, and SensorTrack shocks and struts.
Gail Catlett, the head coach for 24 seasons here at West Virginia, also played here, easily the winningest coach in the history of this program. Led the Mountaineers to 8 NCAA tournaments in the Sweet 16 as recently as 4 years ago, but stepped down after the loss Wednesday night to Virginia Tech. His nephew Drew now at the helm for the rest of this season. Beyond that, who really knows? But he's not here tonight, Gail Catlett, and he's still apparently in the office during the day doing some things. Drew Catlett, who talks about Gail Catlett as if he were almost a father figure as much as his uncle. He's going to run the team for the last 5 games of the season. Beyond this year, though, a lot of speculation. And one name you hear, and, you know, some people say it makes sense, some people say it doesn't. But this is the alma mater of Bob Huggins, the very successful head coach at the University of Cincinnati. And, of course, Huggins has been asked about that and hasn't said a whole lot about it to this point.
Huggins, a captain on the 1976-77 team, and born in Morgantown, was a graduate assistant after his senior year here. Certainly some speculation about that. I think that the financial incentive package he has at Cincinnati might preclude that. But certainly you look at a guy like Gail Catlett, averaged 19 wins over 30 years. And almost unprecedented that you have that kind of success in 24 years at West Virginia.
Turnover by the Mountaineers. And now Brandon Didle walks him back into the front court again. First meeting of 2 between these two schools. They'll do it again in a couple of weeks up at Pittsburgh. Again, never in a rush. Let inside, using that both. Panthers on the glass, but West Virginia comes up with a loose ball.
Yeah, nice looking move by Lett. He's going to finish a lot of those as he gets more and more experience in the conference.
Got a quick ball and a fresh 35. And a substitution coming now for West Virginia. Yeager will come out. And Tyrone Sally, 6'7" freshman from Chesterfield, Virginia, checks in. Yeager getting a big round of applause for that block a few minutes back.
Pittsburgh all man-to-man. Very rarely will you see a Ben Howland coach team get into his own defense.
You know, they remind me a little bit of Boston College from a year ago. The big surprise team in the conference is Chaz Briggs comes up with another bucket. He's got 4. Pittsburgh rolled through their non-conference schedule, went 12-1, but they didn't play a whole lot of good teams. Their best win was at Ohio State, which was toward the end of their non-conference schedule. But in conference, as Jerron Brown knocks down the 8-footer, he's got 4. I mean, they've beaten just about everybody they've played. Notre Dame's been the team to give them the most problems. The Irish have beaten Pittsburgh twice. But Pittsburgh has done well against Syracuse. They have done well against Georgetown. They won at Rutgers, which nobody else seems to be able to do this year. So they're full value for their ranking and their record right now.
Well, you and I were talking earlier today. The precursor for all of this was last year's run through the Big East tournament. Yeah. You know, they made a sensational run late, won 5 of their last 7 games. And if you consider those wins, they've won 26 of their last 32.
All this in just the 3rd year for Ben Howland. Just the 4th time in Big East history that one school has won home and away against Georgetown and Syracuse in the same regular season. St. John's has done it twice. Connecticut has done it once. Page comes up with the loose ball, and the lefty lays it home. And bit by bit, Pittsburgh getting back into it, now down only 4.
Yeah, they never really reacted to the big push West Virginia made. You know, they had to withstand the standing 8 count. They did that.
You know, back to Pittsburgh in some of their big wins. They lost to Notre Dame. They went down to Miami and lost in double overtime. No shame in that. But you wondered about their resilience there. Would they get back to their winning ways? They're going to have trouble the way West Virginia's shooting tonight. But after that loss to Miami, they go to Georgetown, they win. They beat Syracuse, they win. They beat Georgetown. In the toughest part of their schedule, they responded as well as they have all year.
And I thought that Syracuse was so impressive because in the dome with a rocking house and a double-digit deficit, they kept their composure.
What a move by Jerron Brown underneath. Again, just 6'4", and a guy who actually plays some backup point guard every now and again, but he's much more comfortable down near the rim.
Yeah, you look at his skills around the rim, and as I said, much bigger because of that. You say those long arms, it makes him effective around the rim. He's creative. He's got excellent body control. And Ben Howland said about Jerron Brown, he said, late last year, I gave him a prominent role, and since then, we have really played and come together as a basketball team.
The guy originally recruited by Rick Pitino to go to Kentucky. But when Pitino went to the Celtics, Jerron Brown was back on the market again, and that's Pittsburgh's game. Underneath, nice look for Jay Hewitt. Nowhere to go. Dumps it out. Knight comes up with it. Pittsburgh with the ball down 4. Page passes up to 3. Knight. Dump down inside, and we got a block against Chris Garnett.
Balanced. Pittsburgh, a very balanced basketball team. 4 guys averaging in double figures.
And Chris Moss checking back in. Drew Catlett just got about 10 feet out on the floor. The wrong player was coming out for the substitution, and Catlett grabbed him, threw him back on the floor. Page from the corner for 3. Rebound Moss.
Takes a little getting used to a new voice on that sideline.
9 years as an assistant here at West Virginia, and potentially a contender for the head coaching job. Nobody's saying anything right now. It's too early, too soon. The announcement was stunning from Gail Catlett. I think a lot of people expected him to step down at the end of the season, but not as suddenly as he did on Thursday. Hargan with another 3.
Oh, boy, if they continue and play their last 5 games this hard him this well under Drew, it certainly will increase his likelihood of being a serious candidate.
Jonathan Hargett with 13 points tonight. Brown turns it over. Hewitt. Moss.
Great decision by Hewitt. Hargett wanted it, but Hewitt has played some time at the point. He's got an adequate handle, and he makes the right decision. You have Moss in trail. You've got to find him.
What a difference a few days makes for West Virginia. Johnson, no. Brown, no. And now Zavascus with the easy one. And Drew Catlett is literally hopping mad on the sideline, feeling that the Panthers got away with a push.
Wanted the over the top on the rebound.
You know, but to the Mountaineers' credit, I watched the Wednesday game against Virginia Tech, and plain and simple, they packed it in. About 5-8 minutes into the game, they packed it in for the rest of the night. Tonight, they are playing with amazing energy. Offensive rebound for Sally, kicks it back out, and now Hargett doing a Brandon Knight imitation, slowing it down.
I think he needs the blow. He was breathing fairly heavily. He said, I need to catch my wind.
Expected to back up Tim Lyles, maybe pushing for a starting spot. Instead, better than 30 minutes per game. With Lyles out for the season, Jay Hewitt, where did that come from?
Wow, not usually creative off the bounce for his own shot.
Only averages a point and a half per game. Zavascus behind the back to Torrey Morris.
Where did that one come from? Zavascus, a very solid roll guy his entire career. Nice behind the back pass in the open floor.
Pittsburgh starting to play at West Virginia's pace, which is something the Panthers don't really like to do. Drew Catlett takes a 30-second timeout. West Virginia leading by 7.
We have seen a West Virginia team come out on fire offensively, and they're sharing the basketball. There's been a lot of speculation that the chemistry and the team play has not been there, but Hewitt, nice find to the trailing Moss, 3-on-1 opportunity, and then watch Zavascus. Good transition. The big guy around is back, and Torrey Morris, no doubt about that one.
Seven-point lead for West Virginia, 6:49 to go in the first half here at the Coliseum in Morgantown. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, follow the trials and tribulations of a high school-age football team, but they're in a juvenile prison. They get let out of jail only to play football. It's the Season Behind Bars Part 2, and it's all part of the block on ESPN also. Pardon the interruption at 9 Eastern, Sports Century 1981 at 9:30, and then Sidelines LA Hoops presented by Gatorade. 10 Eastern tomorrow night, all part of a busy night on the block here on ESPN.
Wow.
Look at that percentage. And they're shooting a lot of threes, too. They haven't been all layups.
Well, Notre Dame earlier in the year, 66% against Pittsburgh, but right now West Virginia beating that.
Not even Julius Page could catch up to that pass from Chad Johnson. And Pittsburgh generally does a nice job taking care of the ball, but a little careless, rushing a little bit so far here tonight, trailing by 7.
This Sunday, a night of originals on ESPN. The Block at 8. Hard Knocks on and off the field. The season high school football behind bars part 2. At 9, Pardon the Interruption. At 9:30, Sports Century Year in Review 1981. Then at 10, a brand new episode of Sidelines LA Hoops. The season at 8, PTI at 9, Sports Century Year in Review 1981 at 9:30, and Sidelines LA Hoops at 10. The Block. This Sunday beginning at 8 on ESPN.
Pittsburgh has great sports traditions. The Steel Curtain, We Are Family, and the Pens, too. Another great sports tradition is the Allegheny Sport Travel and Outdoor Show, February 13th through the 17th at the Monroeville Expo Mart. The show has all the new stuff you've got to have. Learn secrets from In Fisherman magazine editors Doug Stange and Dave Sanda. And making his only area appearance, Chuck Adams, the king of bow hunting. You can book charters, plan vacations, the whole 9 yards at the Allegheny Sports Show. It's one of Pittsburgh's great sports traditions.
We have a new word for options, standard. The Mercury Sable LS Touring Edition, the smart alternative with dozens of luxuries, standard. Plus moonroof, leather seating surfaces, ABS, all no charge for over $5,400 less than the Camry XLE, making Sable the gold standard for standard equipment.
Now with Mercury's freedom of choice, choose between 0% financing or $2,000 cash back.
Another smart alternative, the Sable Wagon.
See your Mercury dealer now.
Well, it's the Mountaineers tonight playing like the team that's headed to the postseason, although Pittsburgh is the team headed in that direction. West Virginia leading by 7. Pittsburgh, is such a great defensive team all season, but tonight West Virginia is really lighting them up like nobody else has.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has won games because they've defended hard and they've rebounded hard. And right now, with West Virginia playing as loose and as inspired and as hard as they are, they have dominated both the offensive shooting percentage and the rebound category, 13-7. And I think the point you made just prior to that break about Pittsburgh getting caught up in the pace that West Virginia wants to play. This is a Pittsburgh team that lengthens the game or shortens the game because they defend so hard.
I think caught up a little bit of the emotion in this building as well. This is a big rivalry. The backyard brawl, Pittsburgh and West Virginia, and the students behind us are out of control tonight. They're having a good time. Hargett, another three. 16 points for Jonathan Hargett.
Showing you why he was voted by the Big East coaches as the preseason Rookie of the Year. That will probably go to Chris Thomas, but Hargett has plenty of skills.
Knight gets the bounce, and he answers with a three of his own. 14 for Brandon Knight, 16 for Jonathan Hargett. Knight's got 4 threes, Hargett's got 5, got a block and a save, and a run out for Pittsburgh. 3-on-2. Johnson to Page.
A good decision in transition there. If you're going to find the guy, Page is very capable finishing around the rim.
Hargett, you talked about it, Doris. Walking the ball up the floor quite a bit tonight. Maybe the pace and the fact that he'll probably play close to 40 minutes. Still a little Olay on the pass, though. No look as he finds breaks at the foul line. Knight thought about it. He knew someone was behind him, though. 3 rattles out for Zavaskis.
You love for your point guard to keep or hold his dribble right there at the foul line. Let guys fill those lanes.
Wide open on the wing. Hewitt, no. Rebound Johnson. Knight threads the needle. What a pass to Ontario Lett. And then a block by Moss.
Wow. Yeah, Ben Howland cannot get the ear of the official, but he would like to. The passing skills of Brandon Knight are outstanding. Finds Lett right down the heart. No foul call. Good non-call by the official. And then he calls it West Virginia basketball, so it must have gone off of Lett.
What a start for Brandon Knight from the perimeter. A guy who could have played college football. Quarterback, tailback, defensive back, you name it, but has turned into a very, very good college basketball player. They lay off Moss, misses the jumper. Oops. Schifino.
Opportunistic and careless pass by Julius Page.
9 for Schifino, taking advantage of the extra minutes with Lionel Armstead suspended. And there is no date set for Armstead's return. In theory, his career here at West Virginia could be over.
Now I think a little jump defense. We've got a diamond and one going on by West Virginia. They're playing Brandon Knight man-to-man. Everybody else is in the zone.
Page with a long three. Julius Page just 30% from beyond the arc. Knocks it down, and these two teams trading jump shots right now.
Well, when you go diamond on somebody, then one other person for Pittsburgh has got to step up and be a scoring option. That happened on that turn to be Julius Page's turn.
Now Pittsburgh settling into the 2-3 again. Chaz Briggs draws the foul on Ontario Lett. And we have a timeout on the floor. The Mountaineers have led the entire game 10-0 early. 39-35 now. Great energy, great hustle. Making the most of their opportunities. The Mountaineers lead the heavily favored Panthers by 4.
Tina?
Hi, you want to see Todd?
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to keep the mileage down in this car, so I drive it backwards 4 days a week.
Need a motor oil for a high-mileage car? We developed one. Pennzoil high-mileage vehicle reduces oil consumption and restores the performance of older engines.
Morning is me and Daddy time. We go for walks. Let's go. The other day, he talked about money stuff.
got these mutual funds. They were just a good choice.
What does that mean?
It means you're going to college.
I like that.
No load mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Brown says make your life easy. Brown tells me you have all the choices you want. Brown says to me, get your shipments to your customers when they need it, where they need it. Brown says relax. We'll get it done. Brown says, how about some more pie? Brown can say that.
Shipping on your schedule. What can Brown do for you?
Back in Morgantown, Dan Schulman, Doris Burke with you, and what a game it has been so far. West Virginia leading a 16th-ranked Pittsburgh by 4. There's more great entertainment, original entertainment, coming your way tomorrow night here on ESPN. All part of the block. It begins with a group of high school-age kids who are in juvenile prison. They're also part of a football team in prison. That's the only time they get let out of jail is to play ball. It's the Season Behind Bars Part 2. After that, part of the interruption, Sports Century 1981, and Sidelines LA Hoops presented by Gatorade. All part of the block tomorrow night. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Well, Jonathan Hargett has been the man tonight. 16 points, including 5 threes. Offsetting Brandon Knight's 14 points for Pittsburgh. Mountaineers lead by 4. Hargett shakes his hand and banks it home.
Yeah, they are generous with his list, but he is not as big as they list him, and he's explosive off his feet, Dan. Creative with his body control.
This is the Hargett everybody heard about and read about before he got to West Virginia, but shooting just 29% on the season. He's been more erratic than anything else. Ninth in this, Moss the rebound. But I know you've seen him a couple of times before, and as you say, he's got all the tools if he can just harness it.
Yeah, he takes quick shots at times, and you've got guys rebounding, and it doesn't necessarily matter, but I think as Hargett continues to get his understanding where it needs to be, and that comes with film work. You've got to have a coach to sit down and watch tape, explain what a good decision and a bad decision is.
Line drive 3, way off by Mark McCarroll. Pittsburgh's got it back. Shot clock didn't reset. Julius Page for 3. And Pittsburgh really settling for a lot of outside shots right now. Tipped away by McCarroll. It stays with West Virginia.
Well, Jonathan Hargett, as you have already said, draining it from three-point territory. He is outstanding in the open floor. He's got a great handle, excellent quickness. He also backs that dribble drive up with this, the ability to shoot it from long range and do it consistently. Nice little home rim roll. And then off the dribble against bigger guys, the ability to adjust in the air and get it high off the glass.
Missed that one. He's got 4 threes already tonight, but another offensive rebound. And West Virginia dominating Pittsburgh on the glass, and the Panthers are the #1 rebounding team in the Big East Conference.
Yeah, a little bit surprising. Really, it's come down to effort.
Moss right in the face of Torrey Morris.
Well, they've really started to go to him this year for the first time in his career as an option in the post.
His scoring average up 8 points per game from his junior season.
West Virginia switching up their defenses now and back into the 2-3 zone.
And now back into the hands of Knight with 12 on the shot clock. Brown where he likes to operate. Again, ball reversal. Knight back into Brown again. Kept alive by Zavascus. Knight for 3. Zavascus again.
Good patience. Oh, that's just outstanding patience. And the discipline to keep that left pivot foot down in the face of all that traffic.
8-point lead, West Virginia. Final minute of play. And a pretty wild first half. Some great shooting, especially by the Mountaineers, and probably the best energy that the Mountaineers have played with all season.
And look at this, the 2-3 zone here by by Pittsburgh. Why? Because they can't contend right now with the energy and enthusiasm and physical skills that West Virginia has offensively.
Shot clock down to 5. That means it's Hargett time. Passes it up. Shafino for 3. Off offensive rebound, and now West Virginia can hold it for the last shot.
Got to be disciplined. Long rebounds. You've got to go find bodies at 15 feet, 16 feet. Got to believe he'll want to go, but sensational hands by Knight.
Now Hargett's got to hurry. 2 seconds left. Well, that's about the only thing that went wrong for Jonathan Hargett in the first half of tonight's game. Hargett, the outstanding player in the first half, lighting it up from outside. West Virginia leads by 8. Coming up on the Mass Mutual Financial Group Sports Center in-game halftime report, an update from Salt Lake City. And BC-UConn, one of a number of thrilling games earlier today in the NCAA. Reese Davis has all that and more. I hope you can hear us because we can't hear ourselves. Reese, take it away.
All right, guys, nice atmosphere there in Morgantown. You saw the signs there at the end saying they want Huggins. Well, this is the kind of intensity that Catlett's been wanting from his team, and he's got a lead on Pittsburgh at the half. Coming up on SportsCenter Endgame, the Mass Mutual halftime report. We'll go around the world of sports, get you up to date on the Olympics, and also out to the Nissan Open. Well, Scott McCarron was chasing the Japanese Tiger to start the day, and Tony Robertson has really been struggling. Couldn't get something done for UConn.
ESPN's presentation of Judgment Week is presented by AT&T Long Distance. Let your long distance be unlimited. And in part by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
For 4 years, we were together every minute. Today, we're spread out everywhere. But just get 2 of us on the phone, and there's a party going on.
Introducing AT&T Unlimited. $19.95 a month for unlimited long-distance calls to any of AT&T's 50 million residential long-distance customers. Make all the calls you want, whenever you want. Plus, it's just 7 cents a minute to anyone else.
I know all your business.
Let your long distance be unlimited. Call 1-800-REACH-OUT to enroll.
In search of one true love, Matt Sullivan is getting rid of all distractions.
No sex for Lent. For 40 days.
You won't last a week.
But now, one man's choice...
You think you can go 40 days?
...is about to be challenged by one woman's charm.
My name's Erica.
She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. We are totally connecting, and it's not a sexual thing.
Dude, you gotta tell her.
Josh Hartnett, 40 days and 40 nights.
Good night.
Good night.
Rated R. In theaters everywhere, Friday, March 1st.
This is the most lackluster pigskin party ever. Gentlemen, you need help. Honey? Spicy.
Who you calling honey? Who you calling spicy?
I'm talking about the intense flavor of KFC honey barbecue wings and spicy barbecue wings. They're drenched in sauce for that big-time flavor.
KFC honey barbecue wings made with real honey and spicy barbecue wings made with smoked jalapeno. Get 8 for $2.99 or 20 for only $7.49.
How many wings can you fit in the fridge?
All of them.
There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
Why are they calling all the lots?
It was named for Alois Bless, an obscure Austrian skater from the early 1900s.
Want expert answers whenever you need them? Come to Office Depot, where our people listen, understand, and help.
How can I have fewer office machines?
You can maximize space with an all-in-one. It'd be nice if everything was like that. Office Depot. What you need to know. Proud sponsor of the 2002 U.S. Olympic team.
I'm your professor. I got the touch to do more than the rest. Best and can't compete. I'm elite, I'll teach you. Elite and mystery. Make mystery of other fools. Cause I'm the brotherhood. Match up the funds and make lonely ones. Stop. Think for a moment, okay? And then sway. Well, I can say that we must be away. With all the stress and the strife. So God bless your life. Words that I meant to manifest. Words that I manifest.
Welcome to SportsCenter In-Game. Time for the Mass Mutual Financial Group halftime report.
Boy, not many teams have done this to Ben Howland's defense. West Virginia dropping 45 on Pittsburgh in the first half. Judgment Week, backyard brawl. We've got a good one going down in Morgantown. Glad to have you with us on SportsCenter In-Game, the Mass Mutual halftime report. Ice hockey taking center stage in the Olympics in Salt Lake City. Last night, Don Cherry, the emperor of Canadian hockey, absolutely had to be steamed up to those high collars. A European team defeated the Canadians. Sweden beating Canada. So, how could it be that the Canadian women are now left to try to restore Don Cherry's pride. And look at this. Canada on top of Sweden in women's hockey in the Olympics, 1-0. Jennifer Botterill with the only goal in this game so far. It came at 10:26 of the first. Canada's outscored opponents 14-0 in his first two. Finland got whipped by the U.S. last night in men's hockey, taking out on Belarus 8-1. The final in that one, an American medal. Joey Cheek picking up a bronze in the men's 1,000-meter speed skating final. Cheek, a 22-year-old from Greensboro, North Carolina. Gerard Van Veld, who has had a lot of heartbreak in the Olympics in the past, setting a world record and thus an Olympic record while taking gold. PGA and the Nissan Open. This is Charles Howell III. I'm sure that Thurston and Lovey are proud because that putt is good money. Howell III goes to 10 under, shot a course record 28 on the front at Riviera. This is Scott McCarron putting for an eagle on 17. And Karen's putt from the fringe. Measure that nicely. He's 14 under on top of Taniguchi by 1 stroke. Big East Hoops, Boston College and UConn. That's Troy Bell going baseline. This after BC had given up a 10-point lead in the final 2 minutes and change. Bell needs both of them to put the thing in overtime, and he got it. He had 27 points on the game. Tied at 75 in OT. Tony Robertson had really been struggling miserably throughout the last 4 games. Just 3 of 23. Big hoop there. Bell trying to save his team and bounces it off his knee. Talik Brown applying the defense, and UConn behind Jim Calhoun would take it by a count of 79-77. Georgetown goes into overtime again. This time only 1 overtime as opposed to 4 against Notre Dame last Saturday. Villanova takes it 83-72. Georgetown's fallen to 500 in Big East play. And a tragic Big East note from football. Miami linebacker, a starter on the national championship team, Chris Campbell, was killed in a 1-car accident about 4 a.m. this morning. Authorities say that Campbell apparently lost control of the Toyota Corolla he was driving and slammed into a tree. Chris Campbell dead at the age of 21. Back on SportsCenter in-game, the Mass Mutual halftime report. We'll have some hoops coming up after this.
Come to Pep Boys, where Jack's been cutting prices on hundreds of items like high-quality 80,000-mile Futura tires, now as low as 4 for $159, or 55,000-mile Futura tires as low as 4 for $129. Get an incredible deal on tires today at Pep Boys.
Mark!
I love you.
Bad timing can cost you.
I love you too.
That's why there's Ameritrade Advantage. Our advanced analyzer software helps you quickly sort through information, and our streaming data page enables you to size up the market at a glance, so you have all the tools you need to make timely decisions. Ameritrade Advantage, because timing is everything. To find out more, visit Ameritrade.com. Open your account today and you'll get 25 commission-free trades. Restrictions apply.
Honey, you're going to be late for your interview.
I'm ready. Hair Club has been helping millions of people get educated on hair loss and what options actually work.
Hi, I'm here for the interview.
Oh, why don't you have a seat over there with the other applicant?
Hey, what are you looking at?
It'll only be a minute.
When you absolutely need to make a good impression, call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB for the answers to thinning hair.
Everybody's playing their own game out there. Don't you kids get it?
Brian Dennehy is Bobby Knight.
Playing my game is what got you here.
A season on the brink. Sunday, March 10, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on ESPN.
Nice is for losers.
SportsCenter in-game. This halftime report is presented by Mass Mutual Financial Group. You can't predict, you can prepare.
In the SEC, down in John Grisham's homeland, Ole Miss summoning up some defense against Florida and a little offense from Aaron Harper. 8-point lead for the Rebels. 10-point game when the Gator press creates a turnover. Matt Bonner, Udonis Haslam, one of only 3 buckets he had on the day. Gators down by 8. Here is Justin Reed. Are you feeling it, Justin? That's a yes. Rebels were 10 of 24 from 3, had an 11-point lead. Here comes Aaron Harper, baptizing it, 18 for him. Ole Miss wins it 68 to 51. The 51 points, the fewest of the Billy Donovan era. Erwin Dunlap, 25 points for Alabama as they take care of Tennessee. The Tide now up by a couple of games on Florida overall for the SEC lead. The SEC East, Florida still fighting it out with Kentucky and Georgia. Dogs and Cats head-to-head. Ezra Williams making the play on the steal and finding Rashad Ryan running. Dogs up by 8. 6-point game with Chris Daniels, who had to sit out the first half of this game for throwing an elbow against Auburn. Finds Stevie Thomas. Thomas had a double-double. Dogs up by 8. Georgia taking care of business again, right ahead of the pack. Little exclamation point. Dogs beat Kentucky by a count of 79 to 68. Georgia beating Kentucky 2 times in a row for just the 5th time in history and sweeping a season series for the first time since 86 and 87. Out of the Pac-10, Arizona and USC, it was a thriller right down to the end. Salim Stoudemire got hammered. Rick Anderson grabbed the rebound, and Luke was absolutely berserk, and who could blame him? Stoudemire got drilled over there. There was no call. 10 seconds left. Stoudemire still not afraid of contact, still not getting a call, but this time making the bucket. It makes it a 2-point game. Under 5 ticks to go. Gardner for the tie. Down 3. Jason puts it down, but you heard the whistle, and you know why? Because the floor was a tad slippery. I mean, people have been calling for SC to get a new building. Lute Olson just settled for a new floor, I guess. Well, it might have just been wet. Eric Craven, the freshman, putting the finishing touches on that one. And Bibby and the Trojans sitting there. There's only 4 losses in the Pac-10. They have a share of the lead. Stanford sitting there with the same record as well. After they took care of Washington State. Casey Jacobson turning in 24 points in that one. UCLA and Arizona State. The Bruins, one of the teams that started the day, one of 6 teams in the Pac-10 with only 4 losses, all tied for the lead. As you just look at the loss column, that's Matt Barnes draining the triple. UCLA up by 1. Chad Pruitt, been mired in a slump, nails the 3 of his own. He had 22 points. Arizona State had it tied up at 66. Curtis Milledge draining the triple. Arizona State pulling ahead, and Lavin's team would fall 69 to 68. So UCLA falls the game in the loss column off the pace. Pruitt turning in a nice night and getting Rob Evans' team into at least a position where they might be able to argue for a little bubble action. Oregon and Cal, also part of that 4-loss mix coming in. They're playing not against each other, but playing in separate games tonight. Don't forget Sports Center following Pittsburgh and West Virginia. John Anderson and Brian Kenny will be your hosts. They'll go down all of the Pac-10 showdowns. I imagine they might talk Pepperdine Gonzaga from the West Coast as well. They'll preview the Americans and the Russians hockey game in the Olympics and put the spotlight on Mike Dunleavy. Do not call him Junior. Jonathan Hargett had an elder statesman-like performance. Look at that sweet little move. West Virginia on top of the Panthers 45 to 37.
Do you have any software experience at all?
No.
It's not really important. Welcome aboard. So it says here you haven't worked since 1982.
Yeah, so?
So I bet you're raring to go. You don't have any references at all.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Who's crazy? I'm crazy, you're crazy. Welcome aboard. Well, thanks for coming in. We'll let you know. I'm just kidding. Welcome aboard.
The new E-Trade. More of what you need to stay ahead in today's economy. E-Trade Financial.
Bottled water getting expensive. Try pure filtered water. Just as good as bottled at a price that's 10 times less. Doesn't that sound better? Pure water filters. Your water should be pure. Besides saving you money, the Pure Water filter is so easy to install and use. You already have all the tools you need. Pure Water filters. Your water should be pure.
For anyone who's ever aspired to greatness, here's your chance.
Reach young minds. Make a difference. And be part of a winning team. Summit Academy, where pride still matters. Call now about our employment opportunities.
Tough, resilient, superior shine. Get it all with Z-Bart's Diamond Gloss, the ultimate in paint protection. We'll professionally detail your exterior and apply our Diamond Gloss finish to protect your paint from fading, even acid rain. Trust Z-Bart for detailing, rust protection, window tints, sprayed-on bed liners, and truck accessories. Right now, save $50 on Diamond Gloss paint protection. Z-Bart, the detailing accessories protection people.
Well, maybe a future point guard here for the West Virginia Mountaineers. This kid, would you say about 10 years old, displaying some amazing ball handling ability. And this went on and on and on. Dan Schulman, Doris Burke back with you here at the Coliseum in Morgantown. And that kid might be a point guard someday. This has been a conference, you always think of the big people. But tonight, and this is the way this conference is going now, it's all about the point guards in the Big East.
College basketball, generally, teams are defined by how good their point guard play is. Well, tonight we've had two guys who have been outstanding. The mid-range game of Brandon Knight, then off a little square up, gets his feet underneath him. His form is so smooth. And Jonathan Hargett, who has struggled, had an injury earlier in the year, kept him out 2 games, has been everything tonight that he was built up prior to the year. Tremendous range. The mid-game is there. The dribble drive is there. And Hargett, a little something to build his hat on for next season.
18 points for Jonathan Hargett, including 4 threes. Brandon Knight almost matched him shot for shot. But again, Pittsburgh allowing a Big East best 59 points per game. They're the best defensive team in the conference. West Virginia got 45 off them in a half.
Now, the question in the second half is, can Hargett shoot the ball that consistently here in the second half? 50% and better than that from three-point range. Hargett 4 of 7.
They go inside on their first possession. Briggs, no. Rebound, Morris. Chaz Briggs hit a nice first half for the Mountaineers, especially on the glass. It was a 10-0 run by West Virginia to start the game. Briggs with a steal, and he's got 8.
Well, you had to wonder, with the halftime coolest West Virginia team off. Well, obviously a good start here.
Jerron Brown allowed easily just to get in too close to the basket, and he's got a real nice touch on that mid-range floater.
And he makes excellent decisions. You already noted he does play the point at times for Ben Howland, so his decision-making is usually right on target.
9 for Jerron Brown. Now he's got a steal, and then he's fouled. And as you said in the first half, he's kind of the glue guy. He does all the little things. He's their leading rebounder at better than 6 per game, even though he's only 6'4".
No, they team rebound. There's no question about that. They've got excellent guards who board it. Brandon and Julius Page do an excellent job.
Funny thing about Pittsburgh, though, part of this is because, as you said, they shorten the game. They don't have a top scorer on this team. They don't have a scorer in the top 12 in the conference. They don't have a rebounder in the top 15 in the conference. They win as a team more than just about anybody else in the country. Very balanced, very unselfish. Knight inside for 2 more.
So tough. So tough. He gets inside the lane, doesn't panic, uses the up fake to get the defense committed. And now the bench for Pittsburgh starting to get vocal. Everybody up on their feet. Trying to get this team to dig in.
21-4 on the season. They don't want to take a step back here. They've got 4 more games, including tonight, until the Big East tournament, as Drew Schifino follows his own miss. He's got 11, and now he and Hargett, the 2 freshmen starting in the backcourt, have combined for 29 of the 49 points.
Okay, come back with that 2-2-1 pressure. Now they've fallen into a 2-3 zone out of this. Remember, though, they showed a dime and a 1 early in the first half.
Knight behind the screen. Now gets the shot off again. 5th 3 for Brandon Knight, and he's got 19 points.
He seems to be a guy who wants to score when his team needs him to score. Ben Howard talked to him about that in the offseason. He said, look, I'm going to need you to take more shots, be more of a focal point. But tonight, understanding that his team needs him, he's really stepped up.
There's Schifino. He has really stepped up the last couple of weeks. Not this time in the rebound for Page. Nice look ahead. The big fella, Torrey Morris, had to put the shot up, and he missed it. Back comes Hargett, and Knight just stops him in his tracks.
I think if you're Ben Howland in the locker room, you have to say to your guys, let's play our game. Let's not get caught up in the emotion of this building. Play our game.
Yeager. And Morris with Briggs over his back. Chaz Briggs commits the foul. That's one of the few shots West Virginia's taken tonight that has been beyond the flow of the offense.
Drew Catlett has got his guys making better decisions than they've played with all season long, and more motion playing, using that motion constructively, Dan, using it to their advantage instead of their disadvantage.
Natural in a lot of cases when there's a coaching change that the team plays better, plays with more energy right after that. Whether that can continue for the last few games of the season remains to be seen as Zavaskis is fouled on a 3.
Well, Zavaskis is very capable. I mean, he has hit some big threes this season. He can step away and face an unknown when he first came into the league, but you know Chris Moss is aware he's got to get out and challenge that. In doing so, he goes out not under control.
Zavaskis, 79% of the season from the line, one of the best free throw shooters Pittsburgh has. As a team, it's one of their few weaknesses. They're second worst in the conference at just over 60% in free throw shooting. Only Rutgers is worse as a team.
Yeah, I think, Dan, as you look to March, what are the 2 things that could bite this Pittsburgh team? The free throw shooting, certainly. And can they consistently stick the outside jumper? You know, Brandon Knight has shown tonight he's got it. Julius Page has been more up and down.
Got some debris on the floor, so Tim Higgins calls the play off. And this is probably the most unique environment in the Big East. Is that a good word for it?
I wouldn't attempt any other.
Right now at Rutgers, I mean, Rutgers is a tremendous environment.
Sensational atmosphere the other night. What a game.
That may be the best environment. This is probably the most unique environment. They haven't been drawing very well, but with Pittsburgh coming to town, that brought out more West Virginia fans and also brought a lot of Pittsburgh fans down the highway. Here's Hargett. And Page thought he had him clean, but he gets called for the foul.
Just enough of a lean, perhaps, by Hargett to get the call.
Pittsburgh on an 8-0 run right now, but that could be snapped here after this foul call.
Well, he just curls off the screen. Julius Page, an interesting defender, Dan, because he can guard 1, 2, 3, and at times, depending on the size of the floor.
Hargett now at 20. And West Virginia back out in front by 4. They have led the entire game. Brown. Got it blocked. Could have been Briggs. Could have been Yeager. Hargett. A little bit out of control, and now he pulls it out.
Stopped again by Brandon Knight.
Is this as under control as you've seen? Forget the shooting.
Yo,
is this as under control as you've seen it?
No question.
Yeah. Moss. Oh, Torrey Morris with a block. The big fella got up there. Now he's going to get rewarded at the other end. Wave off the basket. Foul before the shot. And the Mountaineer fans furious there was no foul call at the other end.
Torrey Morris makes a solid block on Chris Moss. Good, solid vertical. And Pittsburgh in a game. They are trailing by 4.
ESPN and ESPN2, home of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
Tina?
Hi, you want to see Todd?
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to keep the mileage down on this car, so I drive it backwards 4 days a week.
Need a motor oil for a high-mileage car? We developed one. Pennzoil high-mileage vehicle reduces oil consumption and restores the performance of older engines.
Brown loves the chase. Brown tells me exactly when our customers receive their shipments. Brown tracks down the names, and that lets me bill faster. Brown helps me shake the money tree. Brown makes my job kind of fun. In a dead serious sort of way.
Get paid faster. What can Brown do for you?
The compact Presario 5000 TPC has something for everyone. For film buffs, a free DVD drive. Or for music buffs, a free CDRW drive. For technology buffs, an Intel Pentium 4 processor with power to burn. And burn and burn. Yep, it's a buff PC, all right. And it's just $7.99 after a $50 instant rebate. So, financial buffs, call 1-800-331-4120 to buy now. And get a free DVD or CDRW drive.
Now the Pittsburgh Panthers, 21-4 on the season, ranked 16th. Ben Howland, their head coach, is going to get a lot of consideration, you would imagine, as National Coach of the Year. Some other candidates, and let me tell you, this was a hotly contested group, as everybody on the crew tonight put together the list. Mike Krzyzewski, Bob Huggins, Bob Knight, Tom Crean. We really went at it tooth and nail as a crew. Who should be on that list? Who should not be on that list? Obviously, Ben Howland's going to get a lot of consideration. I think Bob Knight. I thought Jim Herrick of Georgia deserved to be on that list. Bulldogs beat Kentucky again today. Tom Crean has done a terrific job. If you had a vote, who would you vote for?
I think I'd vote for Bob Knight right now, but I think Mike Krzyzewski gets punished. He's 156 and 16 in 5 years. And it almost gets to the point where, whoa!
Money play for Pittsburgh. Brandon Knight on the alley and Julius Page on the oop.
Well, he's one of the most spectacular dunkers in the Big East Conference. Julius Page has great rise and great hands. Cliff Dwaney at Syracuse, another one, but Julius Page, it is a pleasure to watch him play.
And Pittsburgh back within 2. Hargett leaves the 3 short. Morris the rebound. Spin move by Knight. Pulls up for 3, and Pittsburgh has its first lead of the night, and this can't be the same guy who struggled to shoot the ball so much last year.
And, you know, we also hotly contested Player of the Year candidates, and he's my MVP in the Big East Conference.
22 points for Brandon Knight. Turnover, Mountaineers. Drew Catlett's team trailing for the first time all night, and it's because of Knight. Brandon Knight, as soon as he puts it up, it's like he knows the ball is going in.
Well, they paid the price. You got to get in the gym and just shoot jumper after jumper until it becomes automatic. And here's the thing that Ben Howland said. He said, I've coached John Stockton and Brian Shaw, and he's at the same level in terms of basketball IQ. Now, I don't think you could pay a higher compliment to a point guard.
You're right.
Brandon Knight, again, a Jersey kid. They're tough-minded. They're hard-nosed. And now he backs it up with all the skills.
6 threes tonight for Brandon Knight. Now they're going inside to Ontario Lett. Tough shot will go.
Okay, now Ben Howland has almost gotten to the point where he's defensive about the level of talent. He's starting to defend his guys. He said, we're underestimated. But look at the work of Ontario Lett. And look at Brandon. Here's a guy who's the heart and soul of this basketball team, and Lett enjoys his own move.
Great emotion from Brandon Knight. Lett to the line. It was a 10-point West Virginia lead just a couple of minutes ago. Now look at Pittsburgh. They're up by 4.
But you never had the sense, Dan, throughout the first half, despite the push, that Pittsburgh was in trouble. You never had that sense.
Hargett out of control. Doesn't matter. 22 for Jonathan Hargett.
Just one of those nights, but those are the kinds of shots he was missing all year.
Yeah. 29% on the season, about 50% here tonight. Hargett and Brandon Knight each with 22 points. That's a lob to Page.
They are just on the same page. That's just a feel thing between two guys who understand each other.
And if you're a Pittsburgh fan, here's the good news. Knight's a junior. Page is a sophomore. They've got another year together.
That's a travel. I think John Oliver just got away with a walk.
Now down low to Moss. Can West Virginia respond to this run by Pittsburgh? They got a break here. Sally with the loose ball, and it's a 2-point game.
Yeah, good decision by Julius Page not to hit him there. He had no play. There was no sense in compounding the error.
Boy, there is some kind of fire on the floor, on the benches, and in the stands here in this building tonight. The Mountaineers obviously really playing for nothing more than pride. although a loss, for what it's worth, officially eliminates them from the Big East tournament. Knight a rare miss. The last place team in each division does not go to New York for the Big East championship.
Great pursuit of the basketball by Lett.
Knight.
Oh,
how did that go in?
Boy, he is putting on a clinic on how to play point guard and be a scoring point guard.
Drew Catlett calls a timeout.
I'll tell you this, depending on how West Virginia goes about its search, you need look no further than the Big East to see some coaches who came out of mid-major programs.
And a lot of them having some success, like Ben Howland in just his third year at Pittsburgh. 4-point lead for the Panthers, coming back from a first-half deficit. How about two guys thinking alike, hit by 4.
Is there really a secret method twins use to communicate? Well, yes. It's called speed dial.
Introducing AT&T Unlimited. $19.95 a month for unlimited long-distance calls to any of AT&T's 50 million residential long-distance customers. Make all the calls you want, whenever you want. Plus, it's just 7 cents a minute to anyone else.
It is weird, though. I come home at night, think of something that I want to call her about, and the next thing you know, the phone's ringing.
Call 1-800-REACH-OUT to enroll.
This. They're coming your way.
Excellent. Describe the vehicle.
They're driving, it's like it's a silverish, bluish, it's a bluish what?
Secret weapon? Escape pod? The new Toyota Matrix. That's something else.
You see them everywhere you go. Warnings, cautions, reminders that your safety triangle needs attention. Because just one worn part could compromise your ability to stop, steer, and maintain stability. So have a safety triangle inspection and demand quality replacement parts like Monroe shocks and struts. After all, it's not just your safety on the line.
Pittsburgh leading, and Brandon Knight is the big reason why. As good as he was in the first half, he's been even better in the second half.
Well, coaches always talk about learning what the defense gives you, taking what the defense gives you. He does so here. Got cut off on the crossover, uses the spin. Now off the double screen, this was a set. Then he uses another screen by Sebaskis, and then wisely in transition pulls up because you got your guys all in position for rebounding. Take what the defense gives you.
You can see how hot West Virginia was early, led the entire first half, but Brandon Knight has almost single-handedly, although Julius Page has had a couple of high flyers here this half, but those two have combined to put Pittsburgh in front. Tough shot off the glass, rebound Tyrone Sally, a lot of traffic and a foul. I believe Chad Johnson is going to get the call. Well, it's going to be Ontario Lett with the foul. Brandon Knight, the unquestioned leader of this team. Here's head coach Ben Howland and the improvement of Brandon Knight.
He's really committed himself to the weight room in the offseason, and he's a much better shooter. And he really worked hard and improving his shot, and that's through repetition. And so he's got a lot of confidence there. You got to remember, Brandon's only 20 years old. He just turned 20 in December, so he's very young for his class. And he really has an unbelievable understanding of the game. He's a very, very bright young man and a very smart basketball player.
And you hate to always compare him to his brother, but Brevin, who, again, was a kid not highly recruited out of high school, went on to have an All-American career at Stanford, now playing in the NBA, is another guy that it took a couple of years for that talent to bloom, and maybe even more so for everybody to recognize the talent that Brevin Knight and Brandon Knight have, and both of them have such incredible mental toughness as well that takes them to another level.
Yeah, the skills are there, but so much of this basketball game is mentality.
Johnson pump fake, steps inside, leans in to try and draw the foul. Instead, he hits the shot.
Well, he was a huge part of that second half at Syracuse, and his confidence gets better and better each game.
Only senior on the team, a transfer from Nebraska. There's John Oliver, a real rugged guy, doesn't score much. Now he turns it over. Johnson the steal, and he cradles it and draws the foul.
the lone senior, Chad Johnson. If you're Ben Howland, you say to him, look, I need you to use your athleticism, run the floor, make plays defensively. And he has played his role to perfection. Gets out, forces Hargett to foul him.
Averaging about 4.5 points per game, 17 minutes per game for Johnson. Coming up after this game tonight here on ESPN SportsCenter, John Anderson and Brian Kenny will bring you a shocker in the Pac-10. Tragedy for the University of Miami football program. And then a big one out in Salt Lake City is the USA off the win over Finland. Takes on Russia in a hockey showdown. Johnson misses them both. Hargett behind the back again. He can't shake Page though. Boy, how does he do that?
Well, you stay so low. How about just the discipline to not bite by Julius Page?
The big guy, Ontario left, reaches around, causes the turnover. With a stutter step by Knight. Nice look inside. Page again, and you're right. Knight and Page are playing as if they're knowing what each other's going to do before they do it.
Yeah, Julius Page pays the price to get better as a player. In the gym at 7:30. Before he gets to class, he heads over to Fitzgerald, gets some jumpers in.
It's the largest lead of the night for Pittsburgh right now. Let's try to reach around again, and this time they got called for the foul. Timeout on the floor. Pittsburgh in the lead, 63-56.
Unscripted with Chris Connolly.
We weren't trying to run up the score.
You feel you were dealt appropriately by Pat Riley?
I felt that I should have ended my career there.
Baseball will continue to have mega problems.
Unscripted with Chris Connolly, 5 p.m. weekdays on ESPN.
Everybody's playing their own game out there. Don't you kids get it?
Brian Dennehy is Bobby Knight.
Playing my game is what got you here.
A season on the brink. Sunday, March 10, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on ESPN.
Nice is for losers.
Is not having your high school diploma keeping you from making the money you want? With Professional Career Development Institute, you can earn your diploma at home, at your own pace, in your spare time. Earning your high school diploma is just one of the many career training opportunities PCDI offers. Look at these other exciting courses to choose from. Get your career diploma in medical transcription, paralegal, medical claims billing, accounting, child daycare, private investigator, interior decorating, medical dental office, electrician, pharmacy technician, or get your associate degree in paralegal, business management, computer information management, criminal justice, healthcare management, accounting, or get your high school diploma. Call to get free literature on the career of your choice, or visit our website at www.pcdi.com.
Call 1-800-554-9000 for free literature on the one course of your choice. That's 1-800-554-9000.
Slight hyperbole to call this a West Coast Duke, Maryland. The rematch between Pepperdine and Gonzaga. Zach Gord misses. Corey Violet does not. Zag's crashing the boards this time. They're up by 10 on the Waves, guys.
Thanks, Reeves. West Virginia in a man-to-man, and right now, Brandon Knight, Julius Page, very much in sync, and little motion offense. They clear one side. Now watch right here, folks. This is a little back screen by Chad Johnson. Because they clear one side of the floor, Julius Page, there's no help defenders. Wise move, and all hail Julius, because he has played sensational basketball tonight.
Always on the receiving end, it seems, from Brandon Knight. 7-point lead for the Panthers. Knight, the high scorer in the game with 24, just too shy of his career high. Here's Shafino, and Zavascus got a hand on that, but Shafino gets it back. Now Briggs inside, and a block for Torrey Morris.
Boy, he's bailed him out a couple of times for Torrey Morris.
Now Johnson, Zavascus, and Pittsburgh playing some beautiful basketball right now. Chad Johnson has lost his shoe, so it's 5-on-4 for the moment. And Hargett reaches in. Page intentionally committed that foul just because Johnson was behind the play. And now Johnson's going to come out. Jerron Brown back in.
Dan, a few moments ago, I was talking about the mid-major success. You can look around the Big East Conference. Ben Howland won, coming from Northern Arizona. Jay Wright from Hofstra. Gary Waters and the success he's had at Rutgers. Boy, that staff should be so proud of how that auditorium. Look, I tell you, the rack was on fire the other night, and it looked great.
Page tonight, and it goes. Crowd wanted to travel on Page as he was sliding a little bit on the floor. Largest lead of the night for the Panthers. Timeout, West Virginia.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh smelling a little bit of blood and putting it down full throttle right now.
Well, we're used to Knight to Page. How about Page tonight?
Julius gets up in a passing lane and woo, close to backcourt. Little finger roll, Julius. Yes, sir.
Tomorrow night right here on ESPN, follow the trials and tribulations of a juvenile prison high school age football team as they get let out of prison only to play football. It's the Season Behind Bars Part 2 presented by Circuit City. That's just part of a busy night on the block here on ESPN tomorrow night, beginning at 8 Eastern Time. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. You know, the complexion of the game is starting to change, but at halftime, there were about 4 or 5 obviously lifelong West Virginia fans arguing about the program. A couple of them said Drew Catlett should be the coach, and a couple of them said, get Bob Huggins if you can get him. Huggins, this is alma mater, the reason that people have mentioned his name. And they went back and forth for about 5 minutes, and finally another guy who wasn't even arguing just said, oh, the heck with it. As long as they beat Pittsburgh, I don't care. So you can see
There's
some of the fans
desire for
do care.
Yes. I'll tell you this, if I'm an administrator, I want to be just as careful in how I run the process, how the search is conducted. You know, the long view will be how that hire works out for you, but how your program is perceived very much will be dictated by the process.
And so many issues. Would Drew Catlett be considered to succeed his uncle, Gail Catlett, next year? Would Bob Huggins be interested in coming here? Could West Virginia pay him enough to get him here? He's got a lucrative deal up at Cincinnati. Huggins hasn't said much of anything about whether he's got any interest. His agent has said he'll listen. You know, if you're at Cincinnati and this is West Virginia, is that a good move, a lateral move, a step down? You'll get a lot of different opinions about that.
Yeah, he seems like the perfect fit for that Cincinnati program, and the financial incentive I'm not sure could be there here at Pittsburgh. Plus, he's been rumored for the next level.
Right.
There have been times where his name has come up with certain jobs in the NBA.
11-point lead for the Panthers. Wave it off. No basket for Brandon Knight. An illegal screen goes against the Panthers before that, and Ben Howland's in some anguish over there. Look at the shooting. Boy, we had West Virginia at one point in the first half at 71%, and here's Pittsburgh at 80% midway through the second half.
Well, they started to take better shots. You talked about how often they had settled for jump shots in the first half. Well, how many times have we seen them get layups or dunks for Julius Page?
Yep. Schifino creates a little space from Knight.
Well, that's switching man-to-man. If
Yep.
Page didn't switch, if they had reversed, they had an easy shot.
Target. Oh, everything but the finish would have been spectacular. Moss, no. And the rebound for Morris.
And Morris has played well defensively.
Now Jerron Brown steps in, finds Zavascus. Again, good patience by these Panther players around the rim to get their defender in the air.
You know, that intensity defensively in the second half has not been there for West Virginia. A little more flat-footed here in the second half.
And at the other end, Pittsburgh, which allowed 45 points in the first half, they've only given up 11 in almost 11 minutes here in the second half. Now, this is a big game for the Panthers in the Big East West Division, and there's a doozy tomorrow on ABC Sports at 3:30 Eastern Time. Some of you will see number 21 Syracuse taking on Notre Dame, two other powerhouses in the Big East West Division. The rest will see Big 12 action, Texas against Missouri. Chaz Briggs out now with 4 fouls.
Boy, that Notre Dame-Syracuse game could have huge implications.
Yep.
And look at Notre Dame is 17-7, 7-4 in the conference. Boy, there's been so much talk over the last 4 years. The Big East has averaged 5 teams, so we might look at head-to-head if it comes down to 2 teams.
No question. The Irish and the Orangemen are right now both 7-4 in the conference, a game and a half back of Pittsburgh in the West Division. The Panthers are 9-3. In the East, Connecticut with a win today in overtime over Boston College. The Huskies are now 9-3. Miami, which is at Rutgers tomorrow, is 8-4. And then you've got St. John's still hanging around at 7-6. St. John's beat Virginia Tech today. Also in overtime, Villanova beat Georgetown in the Hoyas. Now their bubble is about to burst right now. So you look at the RPIs, according to ESPN.com, of various Big East teams. Obviously, Pittsburgh and Miami, I think, would be the two teams that you would place above everybody else right now. But in that next group, Connecticut, Syracuse, maybe the Irish, but Rutgers.
That hurts today.
Yeah, it sure did.
You know, Craig Escherich's point will be, I don't have a single bad loss. He did upgrade his schedule. He played Virginia, he played UCLA, but lost both of those games.
Just as they don't have a bad loss, I'm not sure they have enough so-called good wins. Notre Dame's beaten Pittsburgh twice. Rutgers has knocked off Connecticut, Georgetown, and Syracuse at home. And a lot of the other teams in the conference in that mid-level, Rutgers, BC, St. John's, Georgetown, I think everybody's got more quality wins in that group than Georgetown does.
No question.
Georgetown will have a shot Tuesday. They've got UConn coming to the MCI Center, a game you can see on ESPN2. Big East tournament is going to be some kind of battle.
Wow, that'll have more meaning than it has in a long time for those mid-teams.
Garnett back in the game now for West Virginia. A steal by Knight. A look ahead to Page. And now they'll slow it down. But Brandon Knight, whether it's the shooting, the assists, the steals, the D, he's done it all. And Drew Catlett, the acting head coach, I guess you could say, for West Virginia, was talking to us earlier today. And he said, you know, the award for the Big East is called Player of the Year, or Most Outstanding Player. He said, but in terms of Most Valuable Player, Drew Catlett believes Brandon Knight is more valuable to his team than anybody else in the Big East.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it really will come down to how the coaches decide to define the role and the award. It is, if you take Brandon Knight off Pittsburgh, they are not where they are, 21 wins.
You look at some of the candidates for Big East Most Outstanding Players. Deron Butler, UConn. Preston Shumpert, Syracuse. Obviously, Troy Bell, Boston College, co-player of the year last year. Mike Sweetney, the beast inside at Georgetown. Ryan Humphrey having a great year at Notre Dame. And then, of course, Brandon Knight. Well, obviously, only 5 players can fit on the Big East first team. And it doesn't matter what positions you play. The best 5 will be voted on by the coaches. But who do you knock out of there and who do you elevate above the rest as Big East Player of the Year?
Can you remember a time in recent memory where the Player of the Year hasn't sort of been a given? Last season, everybody thought certainly Troy Bell and Troy Murphy would be co-players, but I can't remember a year where there hasn't been one clearly defined person that stood out.
That's kind of the way it's gone from a team perspective in this conference as well. It's a cliche, but on any given night, anybody can beat anybody else in this league. Home, road, ranked, unranked, doesn't matter. West Virginia down by 11. Boy, Hartlett's got that ball like a yo-yo sometimes. I don't know how he handles it.
On a string.
Yeah. Tough D from Lett. He's given them some good minutes tonight. Moss, double team, forces it up and draws the foul.
So sound defensively. West Virginia will get a couple shots, but you watch Pittsburgh when they defend the perimeter. Their guards always exchange. They're not shy about going guard-to-guard switch.
Yep. Moss goes to the line, playing through a painful abdominal strain. A guy who, if he were playing on a good team, would get some consideration, probably not for Player of the Year in the conference, but certainly for some other honors. But when you're playing for the last place team, not a lot of people notice that you've got 18 points and 8 rebounds per game. Brings them back a point closer, but they're still down 10. 7:07 to go in Morgantown.
We weren't technically a garage band since we practiced in a barn. 3 years, 7 drummers, 1 groupie. And we never get tired of talking about the whole thing.
Introducing...
Couldn't finish. Hurry off. Travel. So Gonzaga a little bit out of control now. They're not getting the high percentage shots they were getting earlier.
Look at this move by Devin Montgomery, splitting the defense off of the hedge on the high screen. But somebody's really got to step in there. A little 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure right now by Gonzaga.
Montgomery started his career at Duquesne, one of the best young players in the A-10. and made his way to Moore Park Community College. He's a tremendous point guard.
Well, he's got a quick take to the basket, I'll tell you that. He can turn the corner. You got to get help and rotation when he puts the ball on the floor. All these waves can attack you off the dribble and break you down.
Lewis and Montgomery, McGowan, Brazel, and Kimball, the 5 on the floor for Pepperdine. Brazel shot blocked, and Gord picks up the foul.
Gonzaga.
Now the greatest Mountaineer of them all, Jerry West. Honor I drove on Jerry West Drive to get from the hotel to the Coliseum here tonight. But right now the Mountaineers trailing by 10 to Pittsburgh, and the Panthers have really tightened up their defense here in the second half.
Well, watch these two players right here. It's Page and Knight, and they're going to just exchange any interchanges or screens high. That keeps everybody in front defensively, and it makes you sound. Now, Moss makes a play, and they get 2 free throws, but everybody's in sound defensive position. You tell your man, you stay between the basket and your man, and Pittsburgh does a sensational job of doing that.
I get the feeling Ben Howland challenged his team at halftime. They allowed 45 points in the first half. They've given up only 14 in 13 minutes here in the second half. And remember that stretch for about 4 or 5 minutes in the first half where they played at West Virginia's pace. They got away from all the good things they do offensively. Now they're back to looking like the patient Panthers that we've seen all season.
Yeah, they'll take those opportunities in transition where they've got numbers, but otherwise they're going to use clock.
Oops. Now a foul was called on that play, but a great ball fake and feed from Brandon Knight setting all that up.
Yeah, Pittsburgh defensively, look at this, just 4 of 14 holding West Virginia to an abysmal percentage. And think about this, he's had a couple times this season where the 2-3 zone has bailed him out. Think of the Georgetown win where Sweetney was having his way inside. They go to the 2-3 zone.
That hits the first. Well, according to Ben Howland, and the numbers back him up, for this team, it's all about D.
You look at Michael Jordan, everybody talks about what a great scorer he is. He's the best defender at that position ever. And great players play both ends of the floor. And our guys do love to play defense because they like to win. They understand that defense equals winning. And if we defend every night, we're going to have a chance to win.
Garnett just backed his man down and traveled. Defense and rebounding, the 2 biggest keys to the resurgence of the Pittsburgh program this year. Last year they went 19 and 14, but a lot of that was late. Went to the championship game of the Big East tournament, won a game in the NIT. They have not been to the NCAA tournament in 9 years, but with impressive defensive statistics like these, they are headed back to the postseason in a big, big way. And they don't really want to talk about this a lot, one of the regionals, one of the first weekend's set of games in the NCAA tournament at Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh. And a high enough seed might get the Panthers a spot in their hometown. Wouldn't that be nice for them?
Well, they've got to be a 3-seed or higher to play rounds 1 and 2 in the Mellon Arena. And they've only played 1 home game there, so they're under the maximum allowed before it's considered a home facility. And with the mandate of the NCAA to keep teams as close to home as possible, things are looking good for Coach Howland.
Well, they've got by Big East standards, a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. They do host Rutgers, but Rutgers has been a much tougher team at home this year and in recent years. Pittsburgh goes to Seton Hall, and then these Mountaineers go up to Pittsburgh. There's a travel on left. So if Pittsburgh can win those, and if they can win the Big East tournament, I'd have to think that maybe a 3 seed is in their future.
Oh, there's no question.
There's the remaining schedule we mentioned.
They're already projected. Joe Lenardi on ESPN has had sensational success sort of picking where teams get seeded. He's got them as a number 3 seed.
There's a bump by Lett. 4 on him. You know, and things figure to keep getting better for the Panthers. We talked about how they only have 1 senior in Chad Johnson. They've also got a new facility coming in next year, the Peterson Events Center. It's going to hold 12,500 people, and Ben Howland, with his ability to coach and recruit, and the new building coming in, all of a sudden, I think after a number of down years, this Pittsburgh program they're on the verge, maybe again, of becoming one of the top programs in this conference, like they were back in the mid to late 80s when they had such success.
Yeah, Charles Smith and Jerome Lee,
Yep.
those teams are fun to watch. And when he talks, Ben Howland, about that event center, he talks about the students they'll be around. We've had some students behind us
Yes, we
who've been
have.
rather involved in tonight's game, and he'll have the same at the event center.
The event center, the first basketball game it will host, will be Pittsburgh's home opener next season against Duquesne. It will be ready for graduation this coming May. And in a conference that's not loaded with on-campus facilities, this one's going to be a beauty. Jerron Brown again, but again it's Brandon Knight setting it all up with his penetration and dish. Mountaineers trying to keep close. The trading basket's not good enough right now, and Pittsburgh's so patient. They're going to take the air out of the ball now if they can.
Yeah, they just spread things out. They allow Brandon opportunity to hold. And if Schifino, he's sideline is telling him, get close. We want the 5-second if we can get it.
Good show by Moss. Now Schifino backs off. Page for three. And the rebound to Yeager. Nice look ahead, Schifino. He was hot early. Here's Hargett. Spinning on Page. Beautiful feed inside for Briggs. And another block for Morris. Briggs with another rebound and putback.
They've got to stay disciplined defensively.
They're not out of it yet.
Essentially 2 point guards with Brown and Knight in the backcourt.
Remember, though, if it becomes a free throw shooting contest, that's an Achilles heel of Pittsburgh, especially Brandon Knight. He is just 46% shooting free throws on the season. This is the three. Morris with a putback and a foul. And lost in the shuffle tonight is the job that Torrey Morris and Ontario Lett,
yes,
the two big guys, have done for Ben Howland.
Well, they've been sound defensively. When they've gotten beat off the dribble, those guys have been there. Watch Torrey Morris go to the boards. And just great pursuit of the basketball. No discipline by West Virginia. You got to check out, find him. The long shot, nobody puts a body on, and Torrey Morris. You talked about how young they are, but the upside is there, too. Not only are they young, but Morris can get more polished offensively. He'll get stronger. He'll get better defensively.
And now he goes out. Lett comes back in. Between them, they get about 13 points and 9 rebounds per game. Not bad production in the middle.
Well, not when you have great guard play.
Yep. Panthers thought they might have to take a step back this year with Ricardo Greer graduating and Isaac Hawkins graduating, but Knight has improved so much. And Lett and Morris have done well. Yeager way off on that three-point attempt. So now the Pittsburgh fans serenading him with a chant of air ball as we take it to a break. 75-64 Pitt.
The Toyota 4Runner can take you places other vehicles can't, which could necessitate bringing on some additional equipment.
Come to Pep Boys for all of your car care needs, like quality Raybestos brake service for as low as $69.99. At a price like that, why risk driving around with bad brakes? Get your brakes checked at Pep Boys today.
I felt like she was in the house.
Emily's dead, Joe.
How far would you go?
Joe!
I believe she's trying to contact me.
For one more moment. Why? Rated PG-13 at theaters Friday.
Morning is me and Daddy time. We go for walks. Let's go. The other day, he talked about money stuff.
So we've got these mutual funds. They were just a good choice.
What does that mean?
It means you're going to college.
I like that.
No-load mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
talked tonight about a lot of people might not have seen Pittsburgh. Maybe a lot haven't seen Oregon. This is an outstanding team against Oregon State. Luke Jackson, a floater in the lane. They're taking on the Beavers. Ducks haven't lost at home this year. They're up by 5 early on. Gonzaga and Pepperdine. That game going on over on ESPN2. Dan Dickow already with a dozen. A little over halfway through the first half. It's a 9-point lead for the Zags.
All right, Reese, thank you. Great action. A coast-to-coast, day and night in college basketball here tonight. Pittsburgh was trailing by as many as 10 points in the first half, but thanks to their backcourt, they've gotten back into it.
Now, that really the turning point in this basketball game. Those high arcing passes to Julius Page, who leaves no doubt. And Brandon Knight, I think officially they have him at 4 assists. We've got him unofficially at 8. And tough to be on the road in the Big East Conference. You see his 26 points.
What a night. I don't know how he only has 4 assists. You just saw 3 of them there to Julius Page. And it sure seems like in the second half, he's been penetrating, dishing, and they've been scoring a lot. But 26 points, the AT&T long-distance player of the game, Brandon Knight, to 26 points, by the way, tying a career high. And he's still got 3.5 minutes to pad his totals. And you'd imagine he's going to wind up at the free throw line a couple of times. Finds Jerron Brown. Boy, when Jerron Brown gets the ball around the basket, forget about it.
Yes, count it.
13 for Brown. At the other end, Sally no. And now Pittsburgh turns it over. Offensive foul will go against the Mountaineers.
And who else but Ontario Lett? He and Morris have been the backside, that strong safety position for defense all night long. He didn't get the first call, but he got the second one. There's the no call, and it was the second one right here. Boom, the official blows the whistle.
Pretty agile for a 6'6", 265 guy. There's the other half of the big duo in the middle, Torrey Morris at 6'10", 280.
I think he stepped on the end line, yeah.
That's right. Julius Page stepped out of bounds.
Well, Tim Higgins couldn't have been in better position to make the call, that's for sure.
West Virginia needs some threes in a hurry. They got him early. His target bounces home at 2. He's got 24. 18 of them, though, came in the first half.
A quick hit, too, you'll take at this point. You need to be as proficient as you possibly can offensively and make things happen here.
So far tonight, the Mountaineers, as much as they have forced turnovers, Knight has always been in control. Draws the foul on a Shapino. 2:43 to go second half. Judgment of the week continues, presented by AT&T Long Distance. We're here for the backyard brawl. Morgantown, West Virginia. Dan Schulman, Doris Burke with you. The Mountaineers led 10-0 at the beginning of the game. As we get you set for Sports Center in about 13 minutes time, if not sooner. It has been all Pittsburgh here in the second half. They were down 8 at the break. They're up 11 now, looking to win their 22nd game of the season. And finally, Page is told, "You can't stand there, son." Look at Page eyeballing the students, huh?
Well, he's got the upper hand where his score is concerned, but they are giving it to him.
Well, this is one of the more heated rivalries in the Big East Conference. A rivalry between Pittsburgh and West Virginia that goes way further back than the Big East does. This rivalry goes back 97 years. This is the 161st meeting between West Virginia and Pittsburgh, with the Mountaineers holding an 88-72 advantage. Stolen by Brown. Zavascus out ahead of the pack.
They never panicked. They got down to that first half, and again, the sense that they were in trouble just never existed. They were patient, got back to doing what they do well, and that's why they are going to come away with one.
Sunday at Syracuse, Pittsburgh was down 14 and wound up beating the Orangemen by 12. So they're used to this kind of thing, and even though they're not explosive offensively, they can come back and overtake you.
And they are very unselfish. Julius Page threads the needle. And Brandon Knight gives it up. The extra pass, Jerron Brown, the finish around the rim. They are second in the conference in assists as a team, over 16 a game.
This also, by the way, is the highest scoring game for Pittsburgh in conference play this year. Typical score for them is a 62-58, a 59-55, but they've actually extended themselves a little bit here tonight thanks to Brandon Knight and his outside shooting.
Yeah, the pace that West Virginia wanted to play at.
Schifino was fouled by Brown. We're going to meet again in a couple of weeks up at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. The final regular season game for both and the last ever basketball game to be played at Fitzgerald. Plenty of Big East games coming up in the next few days on our family of networks. We told you a little bit about Notre Dame and Syracuse tomorrow afternoon. Regional coverage, 3:30 Eastern on ABC Sports. Big Monday, Boston College and St. John's, a couple of teams, the classic bubble teams right now, both desperately needing a win to impress the committee. And then Tuesday on ESPN2, Connecticut off an overtime win today over BC at Georgetown. Georgetown lost in overtime today to Villanova. And again, the Hoyas are now 15-9, 6-6 in the conference, part of that bloated middle of the Big East. There are about 9 or 10 teams that think they might have a shot of going. Obviously, not that many are going to go.
St. John's, one of those teams, 16-7, 6-6 in the conference. BC, then they go at Duke.
Griggs, no, still loose. I agree with you. 5 is realistic. 6 would be a bonus, I think, for this conference this year. As you said, the Big East has been averaging 5 tournament teams per year over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 91 was their high. 7 teams got in. And now they just take the air out. This is away from the play, and wow, this will go. Who is this on? I think he's signaling Savastis. No, it's going to be Schifino.
And Schifino has been ejected from the game.
Now, Carl Hess obviously saw something he did not approve of.
12 points for Schifino, but an early end to his night. And apparently we are being told it was an elbow away from the play that ends Schifino's night. Actually 13 points. So Schifino, who was very big early for West Virginia, will have to take a seat with a minute 45 to play.
Been a frustrating night in the second half for Schifino and a frustrating year overall.
So Zavascus is going to shoot a couple of free throws. He's perfect from the line tonight, 5 for 5. One of 2 for Zavascus. Andrew Catlett, in his first game since the retirement of his uncle, longtime West Virginia coach Gail Catlett, he had him going in the first half. They shot out like they were blasted out of a cannon the first few minutes here tonight, but eventually Pittsburgh just worn down. Out of bounds, West Virginia ball. Hey, you wonder at some point how Gail Catlett will be remembered. A ceremony coming up. Here's his nephew Drew on Gail's accomplishments.
He's not all about the personal recognition. He's worried about trying to help the young men get their degree, which is the most important thing for him, making sure they get started right in life and have a chance to be successful. I think if he looks back and all the people and all the players that he's affected during his time here at West Virginia, he's going to be very satisfied with his career.
And Gail Catlett decided Thursday, or at least announced it Thursday after a Wednesday night loss, just released a statement. It was actually Drew Catlett who told the players. Gail Catlett has still not met with the players to tell them that he was leaving. He released the statement, and it shocked everybody around here. And there was a lot of talk that Catlett, who's been around the block, was fed up with the new age kind of player, that there is some dissension on this team between the upperclassmen and the freshmen, maybe a little bit similar to what Seton Hall went through last year, and that just Gail Catlett, that has decided, you know what, enough is enough, it's time to go.
It was the upperclassman who spoke eloquently in today's paper here in Morgantown about how much Chris Moss in particular, Gail Catlett, meant to him. And he said, Gail Catlett is the reason I'm still here. The difficulties Chris experienced a season ago. And I think it's very unusual for a coach in this day and age to achieve the kind of success Gail had here at one institution for so long. 565 wins, ranks him 34th all-time in NCAA history. And that 98 Sweet 16, oh, how sweet that was. The upset of Cincinnati, a team that Gail had coached his first 6 years as a head coach.
And Jared West hitting the shot to win it and send them to the Sweet 16. 1 of 2 for Knight, a career-high 28 points for Brandon Knight tonight. Sports Center coming up next. Hargett just launches one at the basket. And Pittsburgh's going to go on to win this game to go to 22-4 on the season. They're going to head to the tournament for the first time in 9 years. They are ranked as high 16 as they have been in 9 years. All-time record for a Pittsburgh team is 25 wins. This will put them at 22 with 3 regular season games to go and then the Big East tournament. And they're going to move 2 games in front in the Big East West Division with Syracuse and Notre Dame, the second-place teams, meeting tomorrow on ABC. Over in the East, same kind of story. It's close pretty much 1 through 6. Now, your position can change a lot between now and the Big East Championship.
You know, Perry Clark, a name that didn't make it on our Coach of the Year list, but another guy who's done a great job.
That Miami team is tough. They beat Pittsburgh in double overtime down in Miami earlier this season. You know, in November, December, it looked like probably Syracuse, maybe Georgetown were the best teams in the Big East, and then Connecticut got really hot, and then Notre Dame went on a 5-game winning streak. But Miami and Pittsburgh have been the 2 most consistently good teams the entire season.
Yes, John Salmon's one of the most versatile players in the Big East Conference. He's got great inside play, and I think if Marcus Barnes consistently shoots the outside jumper through March, Miami could scare a lot of people.
All 5 starters in double figures for the Hurricanes. And again here, it's not going to matter tonight, but free throw shooting is a concern for Pittsburgh. If they're in a close game in the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament down the stretch, other teams are going to be hacking, and it's their good ball handlers, Deron Brown, Brandon Knight, who struggle the most from the line. A 3 for Tyrone Sally, and a timeout taken. It looked like Drew Catlett was signaling a timeout. He did. He had called a 30, and it was granted. Yeah,
Tim Higgins granted it over at the sideline.
And he just wanted to make a substitution, and then he was going to say, let him play. But the other official, Carl Hess, didn't see that the timeout had been granted by Tim Higgins.
And when you think about Pittsburgh's schedule, they did not have the easiest. Now, remember, you play your teams in division twice, and then you have crossover games. The teams they played in their crossover, St. John's, road games at BC and Miami, and a Villanova team that is a tough-out night in and night out. The teams they did not play, Connecticut obviously very good, Providence improving, and a Virginia Tech team that has struggled. So Ben Howland's record has been impressive, given his crossover games.
And with 14 teams in this conference, you play everybody on your own side twice, and you play 4 of the 7 teams in the other division. Good track down to the corner, but the Panthers get out of it to find Brandon Knight. And he's going to try and lay it back for Ontario Red, but he turns it over. Brandon Knight has stepped up big time again here tonight. In conference play, he averages 39 minutes per game. Target to Yeager for 3. Yeager runs down the miss, and Hewitt turns it over. And now it's out of bounds. Pittsburgh ball, 31 seconds to play.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons Ben Howland, he's come to the defense of Brandon Knight's free throw shooting. He says, look, that's on me. He said, I'm playing the guy so many minutes that fatigue sets in late.
Huge night again for Knight, a career high in points.
Another impressive win after a slow starting first half for Pittsburgh, giving up 45 points. What a job in the second half defensively.
And there's a push. They were down by 10 on several occasions in the first half, including 10-0, and they're going to go on and win, apparently by double digits. So their second consecutive impressive comeback after they did the same thing to Syracuse at Syracuse on Sunday. SportsCenter coming up next here on ESPN. And you can see it's funny how a guy who can shoot the three so well, and as his threes have gotten better this year, his free throw shooting has gotten worse.
Well, Larry Bird, he paid the price to become a better shooter today. Larry Bird always talks about the fact that it's nothing but repetition, getting to the free throw line.
Yuri Dimitris is going to get an easy one on another feed from Brandon Knight. And the Pittsburgh Panthers will go to 22-4 on the season as Hewitt banks home at 3. West Virginia has now lost 14 of its last 15, and that is all. 85-75 Panthers. 10-3 in the conference, a 2-game lead atop the West Division in the Big East Conference. Brandon Knight, huge tonight, leading Pitt to a 10-point win. Don't forget, SportsCenter is coming up next here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Doris Burke, I'm Dan Coleman. Thanks for watching tonight. 85-75 Pittsburgh. So long from Morgantown.